presentation of Fox Sports.
We are Blackmore. We are Wisconsin.
The calendar has turned. The trade deadline has passed. The Cardinals have arrived in Milwaukee. The final 53 games to decide who will play in baseball's postseason. The pennant race has officially begun.
It's an NL Central showdown, and the stage is Miller Park here in Milwaukee. It's the first day of August, but this month there will be no dog days, rather a pennant chase that right now includes the Brewers and Cardinals as they battle tonight in the first of three. They are the top two teams in the division, and Milwaukee will try and pad what almost feels like a cushy 2.5 game lead right now, considering how tight it's been all season long. Brewer pitchers have their hands full as the Cards have the top run-producing team in the National League. Look at those numbers. They hit for average and force their way on base and score some runs. A marquee pitching matchup on the mound is the 2005 NL Cy Young winner Chris Carpenter takes on 2009 AL Cy Young winner Zach Greinke at a rematch of a June 11th game won by Greinke and the Brewers. Hi, everybody. Welcome to the broadcast here on Fox Sports Wisconsin. I'm Craig Kashan. Rock and BA will be with us in just a moment, but we continue our talk on a great pitching matchup, not only tonight, but in this series. It only gets better throughout the series with interchangeable aces on both staffs, 2 10-game winners on Tuesday, and Markham and Garcia, while Wolf and Cards newcomer Edwin Jackson are set to throw on Wednesday. So the top two teams are bringing it, and both teams trying to keep pace with each other over the last 11 games. The offensive edge goes to St. Louis, while pitching has been Milwaukee's strength, and they are happy to say that because they won 8 of those 11 matchups. And there's plenty of star power tonight. Berkman and company, it's Pujols as well. How will Randy Wolf deal with it? BN Rock breaks it down.
Fox Sports Wisconsin is presented by Menards. Save big money on all your home improvement needs at Menards. By Triple Hops Brewed Miller Lite. Taste greatness. By AT&T. And brought to you by Toyota, proud sponsor of the Milwaukee Brewers and the Toyota territory at Miller Park. And as you can see, Miller Park is the place to be. This 9-game homestand continues. It wraps up with 3 against the Cardinals. What a pitching matchup. Zach Greinke, the Cy Young Award winner in 2009. He's had a lot of success against St. Louis in his last 3, all wins, including one earlier this year as a member of the Brewers. Meanwhile, Chris Carpenter, the Cy Young winner in 2005. He has struggled in his last 3 starts against Milwaukee. A great showdown of former Cy Young Award winners here tonight at Miller Park. And hi, everybody. We welcome you from Miller Park. Great to have you with us. Expecting another huge crowd here. And alongside Bill Schroeder, I'm Brian Anderson. And Rock, we're looking forward to this matchup. The Brewers have won 6 straight. They've won 7 straight at home going back to their last series. And now they get the Cardinals. And with all the talk about the pitching, the offense and the star power certainly takes the headline as well.
Yeah, you want hitters. We have hitters here at Miller Park. You talk about MVP candidates. 5 of the top 8 in slugging percentage in this series. Lance Berkman for the Cardinals. Where would they be without Berkman? He's been one of the best all season long. The switch hitter, perhaps a comeback player of the year. And right behind, in front of him in the lineup, Albert Pujols. Pujols got off to a slow start. Everybody talking about whether Albert was concerned about a contract. Well, forget about that. They say he broke his wrist, it broke his arm, but he's certainly back to the old Albert Pujols that everybody remembers. Nobody really talking about the third guy, the guy in the middle of the order between Berkman and Pujols, Matt Holliday. This guy has been red hot. He's a cog in the middle of this lineup. And for the Brewers, Ryan Braun and Prince Fielder. Fielder has been on a roll all season long. Prince has had a little bit of a slow period there for a while, but he is back swinging the bat. Another MVP candidate, Ryan Braun. Talk about consistency. Ryan Braun has been perhaps the most consistent bat in all of the National League. Line to line, up and down, he's been the guy for the Brewers.
Well, these 5 players just dot the stat sheet in the National League. Everywhere you look at all the major offensive categories, and certainly Braun and Fielder putting together an MVP-type season. The pennant race is on. Carpenter, Greinke, they match up tonight, Game 1 against the Redbirds. It's coming up next on Fox Sports Wisconsin. And a showdown of the two top teams in the National League Central, the Brewers and the Cardinals. Game 1 tonight on Fox Sports Wisconsin. Great to have you with us. Roof is open on what has turned into be a cloudy night here in Milwaukee. Zach Greinke ready to go. Rafael Furcal leads off at his first start as a Cardinal. And a strike, and off we go at Miller Park. Furcal pinch hit yesterday. He was acquired by the Cardinals from the Los Angeles Dodgers, one of their big trade deadline deals. So, Rock, all the pieces are in place for both of these teams, and now the final 2 months, 53 games to go, and the stretch run is upon us.
Yeah, this is what it's all about. Be close with August and September in front of you, and let's see who gets hot. And the Brewers have been winning games 6-0 in this homestand so far.
Let's check that St. Louis batting order with Furcal at the top of the order. You got John Jay, then Albert Pujols. Pujols has always swung the bat well here at Miller Park. He swings the bat well anywhere. Holiday, Berkman, and Freese, Schumacher, Molina, and Carpenter rounded out. And a couple of big-time MVP-type candidates matching up for each of these teams. You've got Pujols, Fielder, the two first basemen that'll be free agent at season's end. Furcal bangs one into right, a base hit. Don't be fooled by the numbers of Rafael Furcal. He's hitting just 196, but he's been hurt most of the year. He is certainly a game changer when he's right. Defensively for Milwaukee, it's Braun, Morgan, and Hart in the outfield. Casey McGee, Yuniesky, Betancourt, Felipe Lopez, and Prince Fielder, with Lucroy catching Zach Greinke.
Yeah, Zach coming off a very good month of July. 5 starts in July, 1-1, and a 2.27 earned run average. That earned run average continues to fall. Look at the walks to strikeouts for Zach Greinke. Outstanding work. He has really been throwing the baseball well.
Well, Zach Greinke has been very good at home this year. 6 of his 8 wins coming at Miller Park. Cardinals were willing to part with Colby Rasmus, trading him to the Toronto Blue Jays, primarily because of the play of John Jay, who takes over as their everyday center fielder. And Jay sends one to Braun, out number 1 here in the first inning. Well, Zach Greinke coming off a start against the Chicago Cubs. Rocky picked up the win. It was his 6th home win. He went 6 2/3, no runs.
And no runs, scattered, 3 base hits, 3 walks, 9 strikeouts. And for Zach Greinke, it's been a string of 4 consecutive very good starts. Unfortunately, only to be able to pick up 1 win. He threw some change-ups. He flipped up that low 60s curveball and really kept the Cubs off balance all night.
Greinke won 7 of his first 10 starts. It took him over a month to pick up his 8th win, his last time out, as he faces Albert Pujols. This is going to be showdown after showdown in this game tonight, with Greinke matching up against these great Cardinal hitters, and Chris Carpenter matching up against Braun and Fielder.
Yeah, the Cardinals lead the National League in batting average and runs scored. Albert's been on the disabled list. Holliday's been on the disabled list. The one constant in that batting order has been Lance Berkman. He gets a lot of credit for where the Cardinals are offensively right now.
Yeah, Berkman homered last night. His league-leading 28th home run of the year. As Pujols lifts one in the air to shallow right. Hart is coming in, and he's got it for out number 2. Check the umpiring crew tonight. 4-man umpiring crew. You've got Alan Porter calling the balls and strikes. Rob Drake, Gary Darling, and Bruce Dreckman on the bases. Gary Darling is the crew chief, as Pujols is retired for the 2nd out. And here comes Matt Holliday. Last night the Cardinals played the Sunday night game. They lost to the Cubs, giving the Brewers a 2.5 game lead in the Central. Cardinals still took 2 out of 3 from Chicago. Matt Holliday comes in batting .310. 14 home runs for Holliday, 52 driven in. Now in his 2nd full season with the Cardinals. He was a trade deadline deal in 2009.
There might not be a better middle of an order than the St. Louis Cardinals when you consider 3, 4, and 5. Pujols, Holiday, and Lance Berkman. They talk about who's protecting who in the batting order. They've all been very good. These guys can hit. The Brewers are going to have to get their hitting shoes on in this series.
Well, Holiday has made a huge impact on this roster, especially hitting behind Pujols. Not only a guy who hits for a high average, but also hits for power. And a big cut at a miss. Greinke put one by him.
Yep, right down the middle, a little bit above the belt. Now, you can get a fastball by Holiday, but you better get it in on him.
2 gone with for call over at first. A leadoff single. And a 2-1 count on Matt Holiday. And that one's hit hard. Right field. That is way back. And there it goes. Matt Holiday with a 2-run home run. And the Cardinals are off and running here in the first. Home run number 15 for Matt Holiday. 2-0 St. Louis.
No, just talked about that. You can get a fastball by Holiday, but it better be in. That ball out over the plate. And you leave one out over the plate, and he is going to hit it hard. And he did. He takes it to the opposite field, way back down the right field line. You get that ball in on him, he's not going to be able to get good wood on it, but it was away.
So a quick strike for the St. Louis Cardinals. Greinke knows he made a mistake. And now Lance Berkman. Berkman hit a 3-run homer yesterday, the only runs the Cardinals produced in a loss to the Cubs. Berkman has been out of the lineup with a shoulder injury. Took him out of the lineup on Tuesday. And just returned to the starting lineup yesterday. But if you were wondering if that cortisone shot was going to work, it does. And Berkman proved it yesterday. No problems leaving the ballpark. 28 home runs on the season. And he has by far been the biggest surprise, the biggest comeback for a player as far as production in Major League Baseball.
Yeah, there's some rumblings that he maybe had some consideration for comeback player of the year. It was a down year for Berkman last year. Split time between the Astros and the Yankees.
And a swing and a miss. So Greinke strikes out Berkman, but the St. Louis Cardinals are on the board, quieting down this big crowd in Milwaukee. Matt Holiday, number 15, 2-0 Redbirds. His first slide of the night, hoping for many more as the Brewers find themselves down 2-0. Go to the bottom of the first, and here is Ron Renick's Piggly Wiggly batting order tonight. Corey Hart leads off, Niger Morgan, then Ryan Braun. You've got Fielder, Lopez, and Betancourt in the middle, and Renick has McGee, Lucroy, and Greinke rounding it out. And a lineup that will face Chris Carpenter, who is 6-7, but an ERA of 3-6-8 this season.
Yeah, kind of a tough luck starter. He's won 5 in a row. Chris Carpenter was 1-7 at one point, but has turned things around somewhat. No, not because he's throwing any better, it's because he's getting some offense behind him.
Carpenter making his 23rd start. That is tied for first in the National League. As Corey Hart leads off. Hart's been on a tear as of late. Comes in batting .271 with 14 home runs, 34 driven in. Hart with 3 hits yesterday, had a 4-hit game on Saturday night. And is 8 for his last 10. And down he goes. Carpenter makes quick work of Corey Hart. 3 pitches and the first strikeout for Carpenter. St. Louis defensively, Matt Holliday, John Jay, Lance Berkman in the outfield. David Freese at third. Rafael Furcal becomes the 6th different starting shortstop for the Cardinals. Schumacher and Pujols on the right side, and Molina, the Gold Glove catcher, behind the plate. Furcal getting his first start as a Cardinal. Had a no-trade clause, and he waived it because he was anxious to be traded to a contender. So Furcal becomes the St. Louis shortstop from here on out. Ryan Theriot will probably move to second base and most likely in a bit of a platoon with Skip Schumacher. It's quickly 0-2 on Nyjer Morgan.
Yeah, the Cardinals have not been very good defensively, near the bottom of the league in fielding percentage, but they're tied for the league, or second in the National League in double plays. So they have been able to turn 106 double plays for the Cardinals.
0-2 to Morgan. And the first ball of the night thrown by Chris Carpenter. Carpenter, the Cy Young Award winner in 05. And a 21-win season in 2005 for the Blue Jays. Inside for a ball. And Tommy John surgery in 07, the elbow surgery, and then had a shoulder surgery in 08. He'll be 36 in April. And not having the dominant Chris Carpenter type year, but the numbers still good outside the win-loss record. As Morgan pulls one foul.
Yeah, a lot of times a pitcher can't do much about a win-loss record. Just ask Randy Wolf. All he can do is get outs. He's been doing that. Talked about that earned run average. He's given up the 11 home runs. Very rarely walks a batter. You got to hit your way on with Chris Carpenter on the mound.
2-2 the count, and it's a little bit outside. Just make a correction. I believe I said he won a Cy Young with the Blue Jays. Actually won it with the Cardinals. He began his career with Toronto. Three-two on the way. Morgan slaps 1-2 for call. And the 2 men are out here in the first. Well, Ryan Braun matching up against Chris Carpenter. We asked him earlier today about his thoughts of this pitcher.
He's a competitor, you know, obviously good fastball, low to mid-90s fastball, throws his cutter when he's behind. He'll throw his big curveball either early in the count or as a strikeout pitch, and he's able to mix it up. You know, he's not somebody that's predictable by any means, but he's also aggressive in the strike zone. He comes right at guys, and you know that whatever opportunities, scoring opportunities you do get against him, you need to take advantage of because they're normally few and far between.
And one of the few pitchers that Ryan Braun has had a tough time against in his career. 3 for 15. One of those 3 hits a home run. So Chris Carpenter, as Ryan Braun was saying, a keen competitor. Wears his emotions on his sleeve at times.
Carpenter can rile up an opponent with the best of them. He has been known to get locked in on some stare downs to hitters, base runners. The numbers for Braun against Carpenter, as Rock mentioned. The Brewers beat Carpenter behind Greinke earlier this season, back on June 11th.
And Carpenter hasn't beaten Milwaukee since September of 09. The Brewers have had relative success against Chris Carpenter. 4-5 career and a .409 earned run average against one of the best right-handers in the business.
Braun standing deep in the box. And he takes a strike. Carpenter back even in the count, 2-2. Well, overall, Ryan Braun with 21 homers, 71 driven in. He was 0 for 10 in the Astros series until his final 2 at-bats, and it was his double that led to Fielder's dramatic base hit that won the game for the Brewers yesterday. As Braun taps one up the middle, going to be a tough play for Call. Fires, not in time. An infield hit. A good sign. Ryan Braun running hard. That leg injury, the upper calf injury, has slowed him down in recent weeks, but he let it go pretty good right there.
Yeah, about a week and 10 days ago, Ryan would have just been jogging down to first base, but sniffing a base hit. For Call with his big arm, not able to get him. And that initial burst out of the batter's box was what was giving him a problem. Not anymore. And so what that infield hit does, it gets one of the hottest hitters for the Brewers against Chris Carpenter to the plate, Prince Fielder.
Fielder with an RBI single yesterday to win it for Milwaukee, and a big hack against Carpenter. Fielder with 24 home runs. Berkman is the league leader with 28. Powerball home run leaderboard. Flashbulbs popping everywhere, as is usually the case when Fielder bats. Cardinals get a 2-run homer from Matt Holliday in the first. Fielder trying to answer here in the bottom half. And there is strike 2 on the back door. 0-2 the count. Looks like a pretty big strike zone tonight from Alan Porter.
Yep, and talking to Dale Swain before the ball game, saying the Carpenter's going to give Prince a lot of curveballs. He will throw a curveball, a cutter. He's got some tail in his fastball, and a changeup. Nothing straight from Chris Carpenter. Everything's going to move a little bit.
Fielder able to lay off one of those big curveballs. How about these numbers, Rock? .353 career hitter against Chris Carpenter, and 2 of the 6 hits home runs.
Yeah, that's what I was talking about. That's what's important about that infield hit. You bring Prince up, who's had a lot of success against Carpenter, and has really started to swing the bat well after a little bit of a lull for about a week and a half after the All-Star break.
Fielder has had 3 hits in his last 2 games. Gets sawed off, fouls it away, and the count remains at 1 and 2 strikes. Prince had 7 hits in the Astros series. That included a double on Friday night. Hit one of the longest home runs ever recorded at Miller Park on Saturday night. That was his 3rd hit of the night. And then yesterday, a 3-hit game, and his 3rd hit proved to be the game winner in a 5-4 Milwaukee win. And the Brewers have swept the last 2 series, beating the Cubs and the Astros. And a swing and a miss. So Fielder strikes out. Big curveball from Carpenter, and a scoreless first.
games, the starters have allowed 3 runs or fewer, and since July 15th, the Milwaukee Brewers starting staff has the best ERA in baseball at 2.10. So, BA, the starting staff has been solid all season, and they actually rank second in the National League in both wins and winning percentage, and it's been a strong suit for this year's ball club.
Yeah, pitching to decision, and as you saw on that graphic, the St. Louis Cardinals starting pitching has been very good as well, and that starting pitching rotation was bolstered at the trade deadline. Edwin Jackson acquired, technically from the Blue Jays, but coming to the Cardinals from the White Sox, and Edwin Jackson is scheduled to pitch Wednesday. So Greinke goes back to work, gave up a 2-run homer to Matt Holliday, facing David Freese to start the second inning. Freese has been a hot hitter. Missed 51 games this year, had a fracture in his left hand. Still wears that protective brace on top of his batting glove.
The Cardinals healthy again. We've had a number of players on the disabled list, and pretty much all hands on deck now for Tony La Russa. He kept his club around the first place area.
Freese, bouncer out to Betancourt. And Uni takes care of the Cardinal third baseman for out number 1. Well, Zach Greinke in that line with the success of the Brewers starters. Everybody has taken the ball and done well. And Greinke in his last 4 starts, an ERA of 1.40. Look at the strikeout ratio compared to the innings. It's 34 Ks in a little over 25 innings. And Greinke has walked only 7 batters in that stretch as well. So a great strikeout to walk ratio, although he did walk 3 in his last start with 9 strikeouts.
Man, you look at this month of July, 5 starts, he walked 9, struck out 43. Yeah, the one issue that he's had throughout the year has been the home run ball. He's given up 13 this year. 14 now with that home run by Matt Holliday in the first inning.
Chris Narveson, yesterday's starter. Sean Markham. 0-2 the count on Skip Schumacher. And down he goes. Zach Greinke with his second strikeout. 2 gone here in the second inning.
Now the strikeout pitch for Greinke has been that slider. There it is, down in the dirt, and a good pick by Jonathan for the strikeout. Tag for the out. Tuesday, August 16th is Time Warner Cable Customer Appreciation Night. Find a buy one, get one free Terrace ticket voucher for that game with your most recent Time Warner Cable statement. That's good while supplies last.
2 outs. Here is Yadier Molina. Swinging the bat well this season, a .288 average. Has 8 home runs, 40 runs batted in. His numbers offensively comparable to Lucroy. Certainly Molina, one of the game's best defensive catchers. And he's currently on a 9-game hitting streak at the plate, so La Russa has dropped him down into the 8th spot in this order, in front of the pitcher, much like Jonathan Lucroy for the Brew Crew. Back up the middle, that's what he does.
Well, very rarely does he pull the baseball. Every now and again when you hang a breaking ball, but he goes up the middle into the opposite field. A good opposite field hitter. Stays on the baseball. Very tough to strike out. There's that fastball trying to get on the outside corner, left it over the plate, and Molina bangs it right back through the middle. These guys can hit, make no mistake. They lead the National League in batting average and runs scored.
And now Chris Carpenter, the Cardinal pitcher, with 2 away.
With those good offensive numbers, it's been a lot of different players in and out of the lineup for the Cardinals that have been able to do it. It has not been a consistent lineup this year for St. Louis. Yet they're right in the race, and nobody gave them much of a chance when spring training started. But they're right here.
There was a big loss the Cardinals suffered in spring training. Adam Wainwright, requiring the ligament replacement surgery, out for the season. There was all of the Pujols contract discussions, and Albert got off, by his standards, to a slow start. Chris Carpenter with a base hit. So the Cardinal pitcher gets into the act. And the first time through the batting order, the Cardinals go 4 for 9 against Zach Greinke.
Yeah, it was a breaking ball that was up in the strike zone, and you're almost doing a pitcher a favor when you leave a breaking ball up in that location. Get it down and away. It's a good pitch. It's not so much the pitch, it's the location. And Carpenter able to find the hole between third and short.
So back-to-back hits with 2 outs. Molina and Carpenter, and back to the top of the order and Rafael Furcal. Looked like Lucroy got tied up. That is a strike called, but Lucroy did all he could to keep it around the plate.
Man, looking breaking ball, got the fastball, and when that's the situation, you're lucky to get a glove on it. Check it out. He's waiting for a breaking ball, and that's a lonely feeling for a catcher. It's a little bit easier when you're looking fastball and get slider. You can react.
You rarely see a play like that get a strike call, but it was right down the heart. 2 on for Furcal. And that one's off the end of the bat, out to Corey Hart. He's got it. Side retired. Greinke gives up a couple of hits, a scoreless second. 2-0 Cardinals. First inning, the Cardinals have the lead. We go to the bottom of the second, the 7th game of this homestand. The Brewers have won the first 6, actually have a 7-game home winning streak. And on this current stand, it's been 6 in a row, and to 11 games over 500 for the first time. They are 1 win away from matching their win total at home from last season. 16 straight starts for the Brewer rotation, allowing 3 runs or less. It has been very impressive. And Rock, for the first time this year, the Brewers are 11 over. And the first time since May 21st of 2009, the Brewers have gone 11 games over 500.
Man, it's been the starting pitching and the back end of the bullpen for the Brewers. The Brewers rotation, we saw the numbers. 19 quality starts over the last 22 games.
Felipe Lopez on the first pitch. And 1 gone here in the second inning for Chris Carpenter.
Mike Vassell, the media relations department, working overtime last night. The Brewers starting pitchers 45 and 29. That's a winning percentage of .608. Only the Phillies are better in their starting rotation. So the Brewers starting pitching very, very good this year.
In this series, the Brewers will send up Greinke, Markham, and Randy Wolf. Randy Wolf will match up against Edwin Jackson on Wednesday. A big part of this homestand success, Yuniesky Betancourt. He continues to swing the bat well. Betancourt with a .255 average coming in, 7 homers, 40 driven in.
Looks like a different hitter up there. We've been talking about it just about every day. A little bit different in approach. He's a little bit more patient at the plate, and his mechanics are very sound right now. Staying back, good balance.
Well, Betancourt was named the Brewers Player of the Month for the month of July. Hit .299 in the month of July with 2 homers and 13 runs batted in. Betancourt, the Player of the Month for the Brewers. Zach Greinke, the Pitcher of the Month for the Brewers. One and 2 the count. And Betancourt, a little chopper foul. Uni has hit safely in 12 of his last 13 games, and you see the spike in production for Betancourt. June 20th is his day if you want to look at the stats and compare him to other shortstops. June 20th had a couple of hits that day, and he's swung the bat well since.
A little bit of early work with Dale Swaim when the team got to Arizona, and he's been a different hitter since. It started a little bit before that. Dale Swaim has a way of turning a hitter around. And Dale's still looking for his offense to do what he expects them to be able to do, put up some big numbers.
Well, the task is tall this week with the Cardinals in town, and their terrific starting pitching. Carpenter tonight. St. Louis will send up Jaime Garcia tomorrow, a 10-game winner, and then Edwin Jackson, the hard thrower, who has a no-hitter on his career register.
And the irony of that, the Cardinals are saying the same thing. Exactly.
That's what makes this series so fun, right?
Right. An explosive offense for the Brewers. Very good pitching. And the Brewers are home. I mean, what is that worth to you, right?
Full count to Betancourt. Got 1 away here in the 2nd inning. And that one is inside, ball 4. So Betancourt draws the walk. A man on with 1 away, and a reminder, as part of our Fox Sports Supports charitable initiative, we are proud to wear these pins during our 2011 MLB on Fox Sports Wisconsin season to support Stand Up to Cancer and their work to fund groundbreaking research that helps accelerate treatment to patients. For more information, please visit standuptocancer.org/Fox-Sports. Roof is open. A warm, humid, cloudy night in Milwaukee on a Monday night. Runner on with 1 away for Casey McGee. McGee has the most at-bats career against Carpenter of anybody in the Brewers lineup. And overall, he is 28 for 104 in his career against Chris Carpenter. A .269 career hitter. So needless to say, he has seen a lot of this pitcher, as many of the Brewers have. See the career numbers against Carpenter. One ball, 1 strike. McGee pops it up. Back is Schumacher, and he makes a play for out number 2. Well, a matchup of Cy Young Award winners, Carpenter and Greinke. Carpenter winning his in 05, Greinke in 09 with Kansas City.
Yeah, Chris Carpenter in the discussion in just about every year with the Cardinals. He won it back in 05. Zach Greinke, look at the year for Greinke, 16-8, a .216 earned run average. Piling up the innings and more strikeouts than innings pitched. Look at the walk to strikeout ratio for Zach that year. Neither one of these guys walked many. That's why they've had pretty good careers.
Well, the year Greinke was on his way to a Cy Young in Kansas City, Chris Carpenter certainly was in the discussion for the Cy Young Award. He finished 2nd that year to Lincecum. That was the year Carpenter won the Comeback Player of the Year award in 2009. He was 17-4 and a .224 earned run average in 09. But it was Lincecum who took home one of his 2 Cy Young awards that season. And there's a balk.
Yep, just lost his footing on the mound.
Carpenter got a spike hung up in the rubber, and a balk sends Betancourt to second base.
A lot of guys will just heave that one as best they can to keep that runner at first base. I'm not sure what happened. Didn't look like he had any problems. Perhaps lost the handle of the baseball. No idea what happened there. Didn't look like he tripped or he caught a cleat.
Yeah, man, just lost the grip on the ball. It's a very warm, humid night here. Nothing that Carpenter is not used to pitching in St. Louis, but easy to get a good lather going tonight. For sure.
Yeah, it's certainly worth, if nothing else, a trip to the mound for Yadier Molina to find out what's going on out there. Everything looks good, and just decided to stop. Not sure why.
Now the Brewers get a break. A runner at second base and a base hit. Milwaukee will put one on the board. Lucroy's been on a nice run at the plate. Lucroy drove in 2 yesterday. Had an RBI double that tied the game. He also had a squeeze bunt in yesterday's game. He was 1 for 3. .285 hitter to start the day. Way inside. 2 balls and a strike on Lucroy.
Yeah, lately in these situations, Lucroy's had a knack for taking a breaking ball and ripping it down the left field line. He's done that a couple of times. He did it against the Astros. And a fastball count right here. Of course, first base is open. Greinke on deck. Let's see how aggressive they're going to be.
Right at him. And Lucroy cuts and misses.
And a little cutter. As we mentioned, nothing straight out of the hand of Chris Carpenter. Watch that ball. Starts outer half. Ends up off the plate.
So 2-2 on Lucroy. Betancourt with a big lead at second base, and Lucroy a bouncer 2 for call. And he makes a play to end the inning. Brewers strand a runner. They've left 2 on through the first 2 innings. 2-0 Cardinals. Wisconsin is presented by Piggly Wiggly, the official supermarket of Fox Sports Wisconsin. By Ho Chunk Gaming, Wisconsin, your ticket to more. And by Subway. Try our $5 featured footlong of the month. Subway, where winners eat. Beautiful Miller Park, 2-0 Cardinals, and we are pleased to be joined here in the booth. University of Wisconsin head coach Brett Bielema. I figured it'd be a good time for a pep talk here, Rock.
Absolutely.
So we brought in the king of the pep talks, Brett Bielema. Welcome to Miller Park.
I don't start officially till Thursday, so it's just R&R right here.
This will be a good rehearsal for you then.
It will be.
It's great to have you in the booth. Great to have you at a ball game. You look nice and relaxed. Things get dialed up for you very soon, though, as you said.
Yeah, we start actually our first team meeting is at 3 o'clock Thursday afternoon. Lovely NCAA. We can't really start talking football till Friday morning. Have our first practice Friday afternoon and get the ball rolling.
So what do you do all summer before all this? I mean, recruiting, all that kind of thing?
Yeah, kind of a mixed bag. We have a lot of camps in June. Have several things that we got to work through on campus. Let's play. Hope you're not expecting any play-by-play out of me.
That was actually pretty good. John Jay retired on the 6'3" grounder. Well done.
Kind of an ad lib. Then we actually have a lot of kids taking visits. Kids bringing their parents on campus for the first time as juniors, sophomores, sometimes even. We actually have 120 of our kids on campus working out, but as coaches, we can't deal with them at all. Can't even watch a workout or do anything involved with them.
I understand, but they're doing their work. I'm sure they are. You got a lot of dedicated players and a great season last year. Congratulations on that. I know we're already moving ahead to 2011, but a Rose Bowl and what a great season it was. And what are you beginning your 6th year now as the
Unbelievable,
head coach?
yeah. 6 years. This one fouled off. How about that?
Nice.
Yes.
I like Brett Bielema's call little play-by-play.
You just keep it going. You want to stay in here all game?
I kind of like that. Actually, Bud Selig was kind enough to give us his box here tonight, so we've been upstairs right above you. Throw down some popcorn later on.
Yeah. It's kind of like the NCAA. We don't talk about that.
I got you. I understand that.
Just kidding. Enjoy the commissioner's suite.
I'm here with Coach Alvarez, and actually this is started back 6 years ago. The first time I came to a Brewer game was with him, and it was on the day that I was announced to be the head coach. We had planned this a long time before that, and brought us over. Coach Alvarez threw out the first pitch, and kind of a nice start to my head coaching career, and I'll always be very memorable. It started right here at Brewer Park.
So both of you are here. Is there a big announcement pending?
No, nothing big. I know everybody. We got on the elevator, and there's a young boy. He had a Wisconsin hat on, a Brewer shirt on. He was I heard him say to his mother, he goes, "This is the most exciting elevator ride I've ever had." I kind of loved it, but it's great to be amongst the people, and always love coming over here to Brewers.
So give us a bit of a preview of your season coming up.
You know what? I'm very excited. We have a number of kids returning from last year's team. Obviously a championship team. Struck them out.
Well done. You could say struck him out on a fastball in. Go ahead.
I did see the strike. I would not be able to tell what kind of pitch they were. You know, in PE, when you're growing up, I was the first kid picked. You know, every sport. Well, that's the grip. That tells you what it is. You got to watch the grip, the fastball grip. Look at the movement, Coach. That's a definite fastball inside, I believe.
Yeah.
I was the first guy picked in basketball, dodgeball, but as soon as baseball hit the field, last guy taken every time. I could not put it together. But yeah, I'm very excited. I think we have a chance to be a good football team. Have a number of kids coming back from last year, but always a new mix of freshmen. Had the transfer from NC State quarterback Russell Wilson, so excited to see him work and fit in with our guys, and just really feel good about the team. We actually open up first game of the college football season on Thursday night, September 1st, national TV. There's 120 Division I football teams, but for whatever reason they came to Camp Randall for that opener, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, very cool, and we know why they're coming. Everybody wants a piece of the Badgers this year, and a great story. And wouldn't it be something? Badgers in the Rose Bowl, of course, the Packers winning the Super Bowl. If the Brewers could tap it in and go to the World Series.
They're knocking on the door. We've got to finish this thing out. I know that it's kind of fun to walk around, and had an opportunity to sit down with Ted Thompson and McCarthy on our senior day, and just kind of grinned and smiled because it made a lot of people happy in this state. You know, all the football fans, they were Badgers on Saturday and Packers on Sunday, and whatever they want in between.
Well, Barry Alvarez is here with you. Is that right?
Correct.
He needs to. If you're watching us, Barry, come on down. We'd like to bring in the booth as well. So we want to get Barry's thoughts on
right.
Absolutely. He's about 10 feet behind us. So
we're going to have to get him in the booth as well. Brett Bielema head football coach for the Wisconsin Badgers, is joining us, and obviously a great baseball fan, calling a little play-by-play for us. As Holiday rips one to right center, and Nigel Morgan able to cut it off, and that's going to keep Holiday to a single. Nicely done by Nigel Morgan.
You have to ask. Coach Alvarez was here a couple years back with his grandson. It was the week that Cecil had the inside the park home run, and you can ask Coach Alvarez that story. It's a pretty entertaining, comment by his grandson to the fielder.
Now, how tough is it for you guys? I mean, you got to have mixed emotion. Nebraska now in the conference makes the job a little bit tougher to get through the season. Your thoughts on Nebraska joining?
Well, first and foremost, when they were added to the league, I don't think there was anybody more excited than myself and Coach Alvarez. Coach played there, got his degree from there, got a start in coaching. So very excited to bring them in. Anytime you can bring a team into your league that's won national, not just Big 10 or not just Big 12 championships, national championships. I think right now with the addition of Nebraska, we have 4 of the top 7 winningest programs in football history, college football history. So that in itself is huge. And then they did a nice thing by favoring. They put us in the first game that Nebraska will ever play in the Big 10 conference in Camp Randall at night, under the lights, national TV again. So it's a pretty cool opportunity for our entire program.
It was a great scene last year. I was at the Ohio State game last year.
Thought I recognized your voice.
Yeah, Camp Randall. Yeah, I was the one, way far away. That was a great scene, great moment there for you. And Aaron Rodgers sat in this chair last month, and I'll ask you the same question I asked him. He's a Super Bowl champion now. You end up going to the Rose Bowl, but what's changed for you? I mean, obviously the program is elevated once again.
Well, what I've really noticed since January, really ever since December and leading up to the Rose Bowl, just the national exposure that our program has gotten. We've got a few things that we'll announce here coming up that basically national media has drawn attention to us. There's going to be a little bit of an inside view on ESPN that'll be a national showcase thing. And then just recruiting wise, it's been off the charts. I mean, we've got kids commenting and mailing us in or reaching out to us without us ever even making a call from coast to coast. And we just got to always kind of keep in mind what our roots are and who we are and what we are. But it is nice to gain that exposure.
A strikeout for Zach Greinke. Well, we'll try to run down Barry Alvarez. We'll see if he's too shy to come on camera. I doubt it.
I think you get him on here.
Brett Bielema has been our guest, and we'll continue our chat with the University of Wisconsin when we continue.
The Brewers half of the third, and on Saturday, August 13th, fans can support the Brewers Community Foundation by purchasing a mystery bag from the Brewers' wives that contain a baseball autograph by a Brewers player or coach for just $40.
Zach Greinke will lead off against Chris Carpenter. 2-0 St. Louis, a 2-run homer from Matt Holliday in the first inning. And Greinke To start the third, the Brewers have had 2 base runners, an infield hit by Braun, and a walk from Betancourt. Had a good visit with Brett Bielema, head football coach of the Wisconsin Badgers. Always great to catch up with Brett. I know he's a big baseball fan. Sounded like it the way he was calling play-by-play there.
Yeah, gotta love that.
Greinke bounces one to second. Schumacher will make the play for the out. They'll come out to Miller Park for music night on Friday, August 12th, as your Brewers take on the Pirates at 7:10 p.m. The first 35,000 fans 18 and older will receive a card redeemable for 5 free song downloads. For tickets, call 414-902-4000 or visit brewers.com. Rock, you could use that. You know, you've had a little trouble with your music downloads lately.
Yeah, my iPod a bit antiquated. I don't think it could handle all the newfangled things that you have to download music. Lost everything the other day. I didn't do anything. It just disappeared.
Big part of Rock's pregame prep. And we're going on about a week strong here where he says, what happened to all my music? Just when you thought you were there.
Darndest thing.
It's a good try, though. Swing and a miss from Hart, and it's 0-2 on Corey Hart.
It's that breaking ball from Chris Carpenter that, you know, if he feels as though you have a weakness, he will just continue to pound that weakness. And you can see where Carpenter stands on that pitching rubber, all the way on the far first base side, barely having a toe on that rubber. See some guys on the third base side, some on the first base side, some in the middle. Some go back and forth depending on if there's a right-handed or left-handed batter up there. Carpenter always on that far first base side. He likes the angle.
Well, Hart struck out in the first inning. Carpenter got him on a slider. Tried another one. Hart lays off. 2-2 the count. Second time through the batting order now against Carpenter. And that one just missed. And a stare down from Carpenter. He's from the old school, Chris Carpenter.
That tough pitch to take. That cutter just misses that outside corner. He thought he got it.
See what he gives him on a 3-2. And a swing and a miss. Hart chased a fastball. And the second time Hart has struck out against Carpenter. 2 up, 2 down here in the third inning.
Another cut fastball, and that's probably one of the reasons why he likes that first base side of the rubber. It gives him a better angle on that cutter away. You know, that pitching rubber is 2 feet wide, 24 inches, and based on where you stand on that rubber, that has a big impact on the angle of the baseball as it gets to home plate, whichever side that you're on.
Here's Nigel Morgan, and he squares the bunt. Pulls the bat back.
A 24-inch wide pitching rubber going to a 17-inch wide home plate. That can make a big difference.
As far over on the first base side as he can get.
All you have to do is have contact with either the toe or the heel. As long as some part of that foot is touching that pitching rubber, you're legal.
2-0 to Morgan. And a chopper over to Albert Pujols. And Carpenter retires the side in order. We go to the fourth. St. Louis 2, Milwaukee 0.
top of the first. The Redbirds will get on the board first with this 2-out, 2-run home run by Matt Holliday, and that's been plenty enough for Chris Carpenter. Through 3 innings, he's only surrendered 1 hit, and he has 3 punch-outs, and the Brewers are yet to figure out Mr. Carpenter here tonight, but there's plenty of game left here to go, B.A.
Yes, indeed, and it's a good one so far. Outside of that home run by Holliday, Carpenter looks like he's on his game tonight. He's given up just the 1 infield hit. And Zach Greinke back on the mound with 4 strikeouts through the first 3 innings. Cardinals have 5 hits against Greinke, and a slow curveball for a strike against David Freese. Fastball strike for Greinke. Quickly 0-2 on Freese. Freese had a good homestand for the Cardinals. Had 8 hits during his last homestand. 3 of those 8 hits were home runs. And he drove in 7 runs. It's a big bat back in this starting lineup for Tony La Russa. Big bat that he has been without for a good part of the year.
And still the Cardinals have been able to score runs. Been an interesting year for the Redbirds, that's for sure. A revolving door at third base and at shortstop, and still they're right in the pennant race. It's all about pitching. That's ordinarily what it's all about. The starting rotation for the Cardinals, bullpen, influx. It's kind of the big surprise for the Cardinals this year. Ryan Franklin getting released. Their closer, Salas, has done a nice job closing games.
That is the one piece the Cardinals were looking for at the trade deadline, and they did not get. There was a lot of rumors about Heath Bell. It seemed like, if you believe the reports, that the Cardinals and the Rangers were the 2 teams involved in the Heath Bell discussions, and Heath Bell ends up right where he started, in San Diego. He does not get traded. As Freese shoots one to the right side, this is Lopez for the out. And 1 away. Our carsoup.com email the booth question: do the schedule makers attempt to have a lot of division matchups toward the end of the season? Craig wants to know. It's from the Shota. And that is certainly the case. And you'll see that the Brewers and the Cardinals, very similar schedules. They play each other 12 more times the rest of the year. 6 here at Miller Park, 6 in St. Louis. And the Cardinals and the Brewers each with 10 remaining against the Pirates. Of course, the Pirates with 10 apiece with the Brewers and the Cardinals. So very similar schedules to the top 3 teams in the division. As Braun retires Schumacher for out number 2. AT&T Trivia tonight. The question is, who are the 2 pitchers in Brewers history to go unbeaten at home in a season? It's a minimum of 8 starts on that question. So 2 pitchers in Brewers history to go unbeaten at home. Right now, Zach Greinke is unbeaten at 6-0. Greinke hopes to get through this 4th quickly. It starts the same way the 2nd inning began, with 2 quick outs. After that, Molina and Carpenter with singles to extend the inning. Molina extending his hitting streak to 10 games, a season high, with a single in the 2nd inning. Molina had a good homestand as well for the Cardinals. It was 9 for 23, including a home run. Both of these teams have played well. They have matched each other. Cardinals lost last night, coupled with the Brewers win, giving Milwaukee a 2.5 game lead. 60 wins in the division for the Brewers. On the ground, Betancourt scoops it up, spins and fires in time. Nice play, Udesky Betancourt. And Greinke retires the side in order in the 4th. Got Braun, Fielder, and Lopez coming up against Chris Carpenter. And a beautiful play by the Brewers shortstop to win the fourth.
Time to check in with the crew and the community. Fans, you have an opportunity to bid on 15 exclusive packages during an online auction as part of Brewers Community Foundation Week. Some of the packages include an opportunity to coach first base in spring training and an all-expense trip to the Brewers Fantasy Camp. Bid on the items online at brewers.com/BCF Week. The auction begins tomorrow and continues through August 16th. BA?
All right, Telly, thanks. Hoping to raise a lot of money and hope you'll be a part of it. Ryan Braun ready to lead off as we go to the Brewer half of the fourth inning. Braun, Fielder, and Felipe Lopez due up against Chris Carpenter. Speaking of raising some money, last night at an event called the Backyard Bash out at Brandy Brook. Bill Schroeder raising a ton of money for the troops.
That was a good time.
Raising over $75,000 in a live auction last night for the Wounded Warriors and the Veterans Shield, the Folds of Honor Foundation as well. So that was a great time. Craig Counsell was there, Mark Kotze, Ron Renicky, Chris Narveson, and Rock and I did the auction. So we got into their wallets a little bit, didn't we?
Yeah, what a great event. I mean, all the proceeds going to support military charities. Can't think of a better way to spend money these days. Thank everybody out at Brandy Brook for a great event and for inviting us out there. What a nice time.
Now Braun quickly in the hole, 0-2 against Carpenter. Carpenter has issued a walk and an infield hit. Braun had the infield hit in the first inning. Carpenter turned 36 years of age in April. Still pitching well all these years later and a couple of surgeries later as he strikes out Ryan Braun. His fourth strikeout.
Well, everything has a little bit of movement to it, and when you make Ryan Braun wave with a pitch like that, you know you've got good stuff because he does not do that very often. And Chris Carpenter on a roll, 5-0 in his last 7 starts, and look at the earned run average. That is the Chris Carpenter of old. Even the young Chris Carpenter, 2.21, eating 53 innings and 37 strikeouts in that span. Really always has good command of his pitches.
Pujols backing up and throws to Carpenter covering the bag for out number 2. Braun and Fielder retired in order for Carpenter in the fourth. One of the best games I've ever seen pitched here at Miller Park was turned in by Chris Carpenter back in '09. That was the last time Carpenter beat the Brewers at Miller Park. And he looks very similar to that day. He was efficient, had a good slider. So even though he has struggled in his last 3 starts against Milwaukee, he does have some success and some memories to call on against the Brewers here inside Miller Park. Matches up against his former teammate Felipe Lopez.
A little early for a rally hat, isn't it? 4th inning.
It's like a precursor to a rally hat. A slight turn up.
Had the bill flipped up a little bit. Maybe that's just trying to encourage Flip, who's up at the plate.
Nice. Felipe Lopez, known as Flip. Now Lopez grounded out on the first pitch he saw from Carpenter in the 2nd inning. Lopez was a Cardinal on a couple of different occasions. He was in St. Louis in '08 and then again last season. Split time last year between the Red Sox and the Cardinals. Bouncing ball to Pujols, and another easy inning for Chris Carpenter. He has retired 8 straight.
Head to the 5th here at Miller Park, and tonight's Tavern of the Game winner is Anchors away at the Bridge in Lodi, Wisconsin. If they call the Brewers in the next 24 hours at 902-4572, they get 40 Miller Lite beer pen tickets to a Brewers home game. This offer courtesy of the Tavern League of Wisconsin and Miller Lite.
Now, big crowd here tonight at Miller Park. It's been a great weekend and homestand of crowds. Brewers with 3 consecutive sellouts, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Now 17 sellouts for the year. We'll be pushing a sellout here tonight. Pennant race fever is here in Milwaukee. The Brewers in first place in the division, winners of 6 straight. At this point, getting shut down by Chris Carpenter on a 1-hitter. Zach Greinke gave up a 2-run homer to Matt Holliday in the first. Has settled down since, and he's coming off his best inning, a 3-up, 3-down 4th. And they'll ask if Carpenter went, able to check his swing. Carpenter had a hit against Greinke in the 2nd inning. 2-out single to left. And a strikeout. So back to the fastball goes Greinke. And there is the 5th strikeout for Zach Greinke against the Cardinals tonight. Back to our AT&T trivia. The question was, who are the only 2 pitchers in Brewers history to go unbeaten at home in a season? Greinke has a chance to do that, but you go back to Cal Eldred in '92, and of course CC Sabathia in '08. Maybe the best stretch, not just in Brewers franchise history, but you'd be hard pressed to find a better run in 10 starts in the history of the game than CC Sabathia.
Right. Something else. CC still says that his time in Milwaukee amongst his best in all of his career. I think the Brewers fans would agree having him around.
So you could understand why Greinke coming to town and the expectations with the memories of CC Sabathia and that big trade in 2008. A former Cy Young Award winner in Sabathia. Greinke comes to Milwaukee with a Cy Young Award and very high expectations. Little jam shot to McGee for call, gets sawed off, and there is out number 2.
And right now Greinke throwing the baseball like the Brewers had hoped he would when they traded for him for minor league players for Zach Greinke, and off to a bit of a slow start after that broken rib injury. And Rick Cranach's very happy with the way he's been throwing the baseball. He started to add a curveball and a changeup to what early in the season was basically fastball slider. So now 4 pitches for Greinke that he's throwing for strikes. That makes a big difference.
2 gone, facing John Jay here in the 5th with Albert Pujols on deck. That was a 6-player trade the Brewers and the Royals pulled off. Alcides Escobar, Lorenzo Cain, Jeremy Jeffress, and Jake Odorizzi traded to the Royals. Betancourt and Greinke coming to the Brewers. That was in December.
Yeah, 1 big leaguer and 3 minor league. Actually, a big leaguer and a half. Lorenzo Cain spent some time in the big leagues. You know what I meant.
Escobar and Jeffress have seen big league time this year. Royals have a lot of talent in their minor league system. They feel like they're close, and I think it was a trade. You never know how it's going to end up, but it works for both teams, especially in the short term for Milwaukee. The thing about Greinke that is different from Sabathia, he is still under contract for next season. He and Sean Markham. So Ron Roenicke will have 2 years with this pitching staff. And another good inning. Greinke goes 1-2-3 against the Cardinals, and he's retired 7 straight. Brewers down a pair. We go to the bottom of the 5th. And this copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of the Milwaukee Brewers. It may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without express written consent of the Brewers. Betancourt leads off for Milwaukee, bottom of the 5th inning. 2-0 Cardinals. Betancourt walked in the second, one of 2 base runners tonight against Chris Carpenter. The other came on an infield hit by Braun in the first. That's been it. Carpenter has been on his A game tonight.
I don't think Carpenter has gotten the middle of the plate once tonight. A little tailing fastball, the cutter. He's flipped up some curveballs. I don't remember any changeups. He throws a kind of a split between a split-fingered fastball and a changeup. There's one.
Betancourt back up the middle, a base hit.
Stay hot. Yeah, there's that middle pitch that we haven't seen from Carpenter, and Betancourt takes advantage of it. The first ball to the outfield for the Brewers. Look at the balance for Betancourt. That stiff front leg right there, and the turn, and look at the head straight down on that baseball. And boy, a different looking hitter. We say it all the time. Since the Arizona series, he looks like a different guy up there at the plate.
A leadoff single. Betancourt on for the second time, and here is McGee. Casey batting 7th tonight. Betancourt has swung the bat so well, he continues to elevate in the batting order. Well, McGee would love to catch some of that magic from a year ago. He led the Brewers in RBIs last season, and he is hoping for a big finish in the final 2 months of 2011. Cardinals making a Matt Holliday 2-run home run in the first inning stand up at this point. Carpenter had retired 8 straight before that hit from Betancourt. And it's 3 balls and no strikes. So McGee gets ahead in the count. Ron Renicky has given the green light at 3-0 quite often this year. There are certain players he'll give the green light to. McGee is one of them.
Sometimes a way to get a guy out of a funk up there at the plate. A free hack.
Yeah, McGee takes a strike. And that's the decision for the manager as far as the green lights go. And he talks about swinging away 3-0. You don't have to swing, but if you get one that you're looking for, take a hack. But it's the whole principle of being aggressive. He wants guys to be aggressive, thinking that way, thinking about being on the attack, whether it's at the plate, on the bases, on the mound. Runner goes, and McGee shoots one to right, a base hit. Betancourt on his way to third. A beautifully executed hit and run, and the Brewers in business here in the 5th.
Well, Betancourt taking off on a 3-1 count and doing a nice job looking in because he hopped over that baseball. If he had his head down, that ball might have hit him. And McGee with a beautiful piece of hitting, staying inside the baseball. On a 3-1 pitch, Carpenter gets a pitch up in the strike zone. Right down the middle, and look at Casey. Let that ball travel. Look how far back into the hitting zone Casey let that ball get, and just bangs it into right field. That's a nice play by the Brewers manager.
And Betancourt leaping in the air to avoid the baseball. Betancourt safe at third, safe and secure. New York life. First and third, Lucroy at the plate, and a first pitch breaking ball missed. So suddenly Carpenter is falling behind. Back-to-back hits to start the 5th. And Lucroy representing the go-ahead run. Lucroy with a couple of RBIs yesterday, had a double yesterday, tied the game. Takes a fastball, a strike, 1-1.
I talked to Dale Swain before the ball game, and he said the Brewers have to concentrate on one thing and one thing only: make sure Carpenter gets his pitches up in the strike zone. First time through, he was able to get a lot of ground balls and strikeouts on pitches around the knees. Early in the count, you have to wait for one up. Talking about pulling the string, 78 miles an hour on a curveball. Perfectly located on the outside corner.
Lucroy, a pretty good hitter on the breaking ball as well. He does a lot of damage on the breaking ball. It's a big spot, 8th spot in the order. Nobody out. You've got Greinke on deck. Cardinals will take a double play. They'll give up a run. And a big bouncer over the head of Freese, a base hit. Betancourt will score. And here comes McGee to third. Oh, Casey McGee taking a gamble with Matt Holliday, and he makes it without a throw.
Yeah, not a very good arm out there. He never did slow down. That's great base running by Casey. Well, not the greatest of arms in left field. And the Brewers being very aggressive. There's that curveball. It's upstairs this time, and takes a nice hop over the head of David Freese. One runs in, Betancourt scores, and Casey McGee with some very good base running, able to get all the way to third base.
Betancourt scores the run. Lucroy with another run batted in, and it's still first and third. Still nobody out, and the pitcher Zach Greinke coming up. Greinke is a good bunter, and Ron Renicky is never afraid to use the suicide squeeze or even the safety squeeze.
You might not see it with nobody out. You got the top of the order coming up.
He squares and gets it down. It's a good bunt, little indecision. Nobody home at first base. Everybody safe. The bases are loaded as Greinke bunts for a hit.
Now, wasn't a squeeze, but what it was, just trying to get Lucroy over to second base, taking away the potential of a double play. And Chris Carpenter looking around, wondering what's going on out there. A little indecision between Molina and Freese. Who was going to take it? Right there, a little bit of a delay. That's all it took. Nobody at third base. Casey McGee able to creep his way down the line, but has to get back.
Well, this is a play that Ron Renicky talked to us about earlier this year, a play that he took from Joe Madden, the safety squeeze. It puts the defense in such a tough spot, in a bit of a panic spot. And boy, did the Cardinals defense break down there. Bases loaded. Here's Hart. And a swing and a miss. You know, anytime there's a bunt with a runner at third, as a defender, you're thinking squeeze bunt. That's the first thought. Casey McGee didn't take off, and Greinke ends up at first base. And now Hart trying to do some big damage. Curveball in the air, center field, that is down, a base hit. McGee will score. Lucroy being held up and scampers back to third base. We are tied at 2 on an RBI single by Corey Hart.
I'll tell you, a hanging breaking ball. He had Corey waving at sliders and cutters off the corner. Well, all of a sudden, Chris Carpenter getting his pitches up around the belt, up around mid-thigh. Here it is, that curveball up around the letters. And Corey able to get the end of the bat on it and drive in a run. Lucroy took a big turn around third base and almost got caught getting back. The throw came into third base. Well, the Brewers in business for a potential huge inning. Already 2 in, nobody out, and the bases are loaded. All started with the bottom of the order.
5 consecutive hits against Chris Carpenter. He had given up 1 infield hit to start this inning. Bases still loaded. Nobody out. Here comes Nigel Morgan. Lucroy at third, Greinke out at second, and Hart at first. Two-two ball game, all tied up in the fifth.
Starting to get behind in the count. First part of the game, it was always strike one for Carpenter. Has not been the case in this inning.
Morgan down the line, foul, got out ahead of one. And it's a ball and a strike. We talked to Nigel Morgan about this lineup and his favorite spot. He is a prototypical leadoff hitter, but in this lineup, it's the 2 spot that is the sweet spot in front of Ryan Braun and Prince Fielder. He sees a lot of good pitches to hit, and the numbers show it this year for Nigel Morgan. 378 hitter with runners in scoring position this year. That one's hit pretty well. Left center field. Long way to go. Jay cannot get there. Lucroy is in. Here comes Greinke. And here comes Corey Hart. Everybody scores. A 3 RBI double for Nigel Morgan. Five to 2 Milwaukee. What an inning already. Still nobody out.
6 straight hits. Nigel Morgan with an opposite field double on another pitch up in the strike zone from Carpenter. And Corey Hart almost scored before Greinke. That's how fast he was getting around the bases. And a little misplay on that bunt by Zach Greinke, helping the Brewers in this inning, that's for sure.
Quick trip to the mound for Molina. Well, now the crowd is in it. Very loud here at Miller Park. 6 hits, 5 runs. Nobody out. Morgan out at second for Ryan Braun, who's 1 for 2. Had the first and only hit until this 5th inning began. An infield hit and chopper over the mound. Well, Nigel Morgan continues to have a breakout year.
He's something else, isn't he? Helps you win in a lot of different ways.
Brewers with 4 hits with runners in scoring position, all coming in this inning. It's been a quick strike too. Carpenter's only thrown 19 pitches in this frame, and already 6 hits, 6 consecutive hits. Big cut from Braun.
And that one right down the middle too. Brawny having a little meeting with himself, and perhaps to say shorten up a little bit. That was a big swing, looking to hit a homer.
His batting average with runners in scoring position, a little over 20 points higher than his season batting average. And as most of the superstars are, he is a better hitter when he has an RBI opportunity. Curveball, a beauty. 1-2 on Braun. Octavio Dotel, new acquisition for the Cardinals. One and 2 to Braun. And a breaking ball missed. Not by much. strikes out. He chased one. So out is Braun for the first out. Nyjer Morgan still at second. Rock, let's take it back to the extra base hit.
Yeah, breaking ball again up in the strike zone. Early in the game, those pitches were down around the shoe tops. On a 1-1 count, he slices it out of the reach of John Jay in center and clears the bases. So a number of pitches around the belt for Carpenter in this inning, and the Brewers have taken advantage of it. Check out Corey Hart. Almost right on the heels of Zach Greinke.
La Russa will walk Fielder. La Russa does this a lot. Prince leads the league in intentional walks. That is his 17th intentional walk of the year. So it is first and second. Corey Hart drafting off his starting pitcher.
Yeah, get going. All right, we're good.
You like Greinke's thought process, though. He was tagging in case Jay made that catch. He too would advance. 3 RBI double for Nyjer Morgan. So Fielder is walked. And here is Felipe Lopez, the 9th batter of the inning for the Brew Crew. So much focus on Braun and Fielder when you play the Brewers from the opposition's perspective. And you can understand when the bottom of the order does their part and when the supporting cast delivers like Lucroy and Nyjer Morgan, it can deal a big blow to the opponent.
Well, maybe the Brewer hitters saw our broadcast open tonight and they're thinking, what about us? Talking about Braun and Fielder, and it's everybody else that's been getting it done in this inning.
Chris Carpenter is drenched in sweat. 1 gone for Lopez, 2 on, and it's 2 balls and a strike. Sweat just pouring off of Carpenter.
Yeah, pitch count. The Brewers have got that pitch count up to 90 right now for Chris Carpenter. 90 pitches in this heat. That'll worry you out. Look at the bill of that cap, soaking wet.
Two and 1 to Felipe Lopez. And he gets under one. Shallow center. John Jay is under it. And there is out number 2. Chris Carpenter working hard. Look at the sweat off of Carpenter with every pitch. Oh man, everything looks good at Exmo, even sweat.
Beads of sweat coming off of that hat, coming off the arm, face, you name it.
Two men are out, and it's Betancourt who started all of this with a single. Brewers have batted around. 10th man in the inning to hit against Carpenter. Leading up to this inning, in 4 innings for Carpenter, the Brewers were 1 for 14 at the plate. 6 hits in this frame, and a walk to the first 9 hitters. There's that curveball, buckled the knees, and a strike for Carpenter. This is what the Brewers have done this inning. Something you might see throughout the course of a game if you had a good night. But in the 5th inning alone tonight. Inning started with 5 straight singles. Lucroy had the RBI single. And then Hart with an RBI single to tie it. Nyjer Morgan delivered the big blow so far. A 3-run double into the gap in left center. 1 ball, 1 strike. 2 men are on for Betancourt. And it goes to 1 and 2. Carpenter had his pitch count down. Looked like it was going to be a night where he would be able to go deep into this game. And no matter what happens here, he is still going to need bullpen help tonight. Already at 94 pitches.
He is just soaking wet out there. You can tell the difference in the color of the jersey and the pants. A lot darker. 35 pitches in the 5th inning, and he has really not been able to get ahead in the count much in this inning.
See what he wants to do with Betancourt. 1-2. And Betancourt lays off and able to check his swing according to the first base umpire. Count evens at 2-2. Betancourt drew a walk in the 2nd inning, and then he singled to start the 5th. And a good cut.
Fastball outer half down in the zone, and Betancourt right on it, fouled it straight back. This is the kind of offense that Dale Swain's been looking for. Get the bottom of the order going. Corey Hart, Nigel Morgan with RBIs. Nights like this, the hitting coach sleeps well. Of course, the night's not over.
Renicky would love a few more. 2-2. Carpenter's still at it here in the 5th inning. And a curveball called strike 3. Uni is called out, and the inning is over, but the Brewers get a big inning. The supporting cast stepping up big. 6 consecutive hits. Capped off by Nigel Morgan, 3 RBI double. Five to 2 as we go to the 6th inning from Miller Park. FoxSportsWisconsin.com has launched Game Connect, a revolutionary interactive tool available during all Brewers games. Game Connect combines compelling statistical visuals with conversation on social websites to create a truly unique way for fans to become involved in the broadcast experience. Check it out now, FoxSportsWisconsin.com. Greinke back on the mound, now pitching with a lead, facing Albert Pujols to start the 6th inning.
It's been a while since Greinke's been on the mound. Not sure what Chris Carpenter is talking to Dave Duncan about. Perhaps the bunt play, perhaps wondering why nobody caught that fly ball from Nigel Morgan. We mentioned that Chris Carpenter not afraid to wear his emotions on his sleeve, not so much on the field, but in that dugout. He's been known to do that from time to time. Nothing wrong with that, as long as you don't show anybody up. A keen competitor will do that. I play with a bunch of guys like that.
Well, you might remember that Morgan double. John Jay was shaded into right field. It was about 10 to 15 steps into right center. And that was all that Morgan would need to get that ball to drop in the gap in left center. John Jay does not have great speed. You just wonder if Colby Rasmus has a better chance to run that ball down. They do give up a little speed when they traded away Rasmus. Pujols on the ground, right to McGee. One away.
Hey fans, tomorrow head down to the Brewers team store by Majestic and meet Brewers center fielder Nyjer Morgan. He'll be signing autographs from noon until 1 p.m. and while you're there, pick up the latest Tony Plush t-shirt. Plan to arrive early as autographs will be limited. It will be there for 1 hour. The T Plush t-shirt. Hey, look, I saw a bunch of the guys in the Brewers clubhouse wearing them.
And what about us?
You can go buy one.
Employee discount?
Oh, you wanted one for free?
I was kind of thinking, you know, since we've promoted it quite a bit here, based on standard operating procedure, we might see one, but maybe not.
Yeah, don't we promote cars and stuff like that too? I'll take a car.
Matt Holliday is 2 for 2 tonight. Hit his first home run since July 8th in the first inning. Holliday's 15th home run. It was an opposite field home run. And it put the Cardinals on the board. Greinke has settled down since. Greinke is retired 8 straight now. Holliday had the last hit. He singled to right center in the 3rd inning. And Holliday draws the walk on 4 straight. So he has been aboard 3 times. He's been a nemesis for Greinke, and a base runner with 1 away for Lance Berkman.
That first walk for Zach in this game. Doesn't walk many. It's only the 22nd walk for Greinke all season.
Berkman has struck out twice against Greinke tonight. A good cut there.
Yeah, both the strikeouts coming on good sliders. Started him out with a fastball up in the zone.
Pujols 0 for 3 against Greinke. Berkman 0 for 2. Greinke's given up 5 hits. Holliday with 2 of those. And a good play from Lucroy to keep Holliday at first. Greinke's pitch count at 87. He's in good shape despite a long first inning. Strike on the corner. Good pitch. 1-2 on Berkman. Last year Berkman traded at the trade deadline from the Astros to the Yankees. He's having a terrible season by his standards in Houston. He went to the Yankees, struggled in the regular season for New York in 37 games, but did make an impact in the postseason for the Yankees last year. Had a big hit against the Twins in the ALDS.
And where would the Cardinals be without Lance Berkman this year? A number of players on the disabled list. Holliday, Pujols, both spending time on the DL, but Berkman has been consistent and particularly good on the road.
That one is hit hard, and that's going to get down a base hit. So Berkman singles, and just like that, the Cardinals put 2 on, bring the tying run to the plate.
Yep, it was a slider up that Berkman was able to get a bat on. Well, Greinke attacked him early with a fastball up in the zone. He fouled it right back. A slider in the dirt, and then a fastball away. Got ahead 1-2 to Berkman. That was a perfect pitch on the outside corner. Tried to get him to chase, did not. Left the slider up in the strike zone, and Berkman, although he got it down on the end just a little bit, able to dump it in front of Corey. You make mistakes to good hitters, and they're going to make you pay. You know, Greinke got him to strike out on 2 sliders in the dirt, and that's exactly where he wanted that last one.
Well, now a home run threat at the plate. David Freese. Freese has played in just 54 games this year, had that broken hand, and already with 7 home runs. Two on, 1 out. The Brewers look for a ground ball to turn 2. Get Greinke out of the inning. Zips one in for strike 1.
Yeah, and that's the pitch to get it too. That pitch down in the strike zone. That was a good pitch. Adams had some life on it at 93 miles an hour.
David Freese has 4 of his 7 home runs in the last 10 games. 3 of those coming on the last homestand for the Cardinals. Greinke's pitch count to 93. Big hitter for Greinke. 1 away. Cardinals have the tying run at the plate. And it's 3 balls and a strike. Three and 2. Got to chase ball 4 as LaTroy Hawkins starts to get loose. Certainly the heat and the humidity wearing down the starting pitchers.
Greinke at 95 pitches right now, but able to get a foul tip and a fastball in. Still has good velocity, good movement.
Greinke threw 123 pitches in his last start against the Cubs. That was on Wednesday.
He's ordinarily right here a slider count for Zach Greinke. Usually looking for a slider away. Hopefully a right-handed batter chases it. We'll see what he throws.
Runners go, and a swing and a drive down the right field line. Corey Hart cannot get there. It's foul. Just foul down the line.
It went with a fastball that time, in on his hands.
Close call. That had a chance to score 2.
Lucroy setting up inside. Greinke didn't quite get it in there, but allowed Freese to get a little bit too much of it.
So Freese in a battle. 3 and 2 the count. Matt Holliday, who walked at second base, Berkman over at first. We'll see if the Cardinals send the runners again. And a chance for a strike him out, throw him out double play. La Russa must have a lot of confidence in Freese. And Greinke with an inside move. No movement.
And neither guy runs very well out there in the bases, Holliday and Berkman. A lot of times on a swing and miss in a play like this, you're best off throwing to second base. Guy at first usually doesn't get a good jump.
See what he gives him on a 3-2. And there's a base hit. Holliday got a late start. He'll be held around third. And the bases are loaded. And the Cardinals have bounced right back. Now they threaten in the 6th.
And another fastball from Greinke. And not showing much confidence in that slider. That's ordinarily the pitch he's going to throw 3 and 2. Wasn't able to throw a slider for a strike to Freese in that at bat. 3 straight fastballs. All of them supposed to be in, but Freese doing a nice job making the adjustment, pulling the hands in, and muscling it into right field.
Good at bat for David Freese. So a walk and 2 hits. Rick Kranitz to chat with Greinke brings the infielders in. And speedy Skip Schumacher coming up for St. Louis.
Yeah, those are pretty good pitches to David Freese. And as you mentioned, that was a good piece of hitting because you had to figure in the back of his mind. You know, Freese was thinking slider. He was able to fight off some pretty good fastballs, and including that last one. That wasn't a bad pitch by Greinke, up and in.
Well, here we go. Schumacher with the bases full, 1 out. Tough guy to double up. Schumacher runs well. Greinke has retired him twice. He struck him out in the 2nd. Got him on a fly ball to left in the 4th inning. Got Holiday, who walked, back-to-back hits from Berkman and Freese. And back-to-back 2 strike hits for Berkman and Freese. Brewers scored 5 runs in the 5th and a 5-2 lead. Schumacher pops it foul. Long run. Betancourt and McGee cannot get there. Great try. Casey almost came up with a spectacular catch.
Yeah, that's a tough play for a third baseman. His back to the baseball the whole time, trying to imitate a wide receiver, and just wasn't able to hold on. Actually hit him in the wrist. A much easier play for a shortstop, but Betancourt was shaded around, setting up a double play.
Ball and a strike on Schumacher. And in the dirt, blocked by Lucroy.
Just can't throw that slider for a strike. It makes it tough on the catcher to try and call a game when you really don't have that slider to go to for a strike. And hitters see that, and they're just sitting fastball.
Schumacher ahead in the count, the 2-1. And he pops him up foul. That's back in the seats. 2-2 the count on Schumacher. Another fastball from Greinke. Defensively, Rock, looks like the Brewers will try to turn 2, with the exception of McGee, perhaps. Maybe on a backhand he would come to the plate. He's a step off the grass at third.
Well, with a 3-run lead, you'll concede a run and try and turn that double play. If you don't turn it, you give up 1. You don't want to bring the infield in, that's for sure, in this situation. Not up by 3 in the 6th.
Fielder deep at first, trying to cover that hole for Schumacher. A lot of grinding going on right now in the 6th inning. Greinke trying to get through this inning.
I know Lucroy would love to throw that slider. Let's see if he has enough confidence in it.
2-2, bases loaded. And it's in the dirt. Lucroy blocks it again. Saves a run. Count goes full. You pretty much got to let one fly here.
Yeah, take your chances. You can't throw the slider for a strike. Get that fastball up and in.
And a broken bat. Lopez to second. Betancourt's turn. In time! A double play! Betancourt with a rifle to first. The Brewers get the call. They turn 2 and the inning ends. Battery, reminding you to please play responsibly. By Airtran, go, there's nothing stopping you. And by the Miller Lite Vortex bottle, taste greatness.
Slick double play turned by Felipe Lopez and Betancourt to get Greinke out of a jam, and look how close it is at first. And really not even close. The Brewers with a huge break, but what a job by Greinke to come back and get Schumacher on a fastball up and in. And it looked like Schumacher beat it, but that Greinke will take it.
Yeah, the Brewers get a gift on a missed call by Rob Drake at first base. That would have been a run in against Greinke, but the second out. So here is Octavio Dotel. Came to the Cardinals just a couple of days ago, part of that trade St. Louis made with the Toronto Blue Jays. And Octavio Dotel along with Mark Tepchinsky. And then Edwin Jackson was also in that trade. Jackson was actually traded from the White Sox to the Blue Jays, so technically 3 players came from Toronto, although Jackson's stay in Toronto was only on paper. As Dotel deals a strike to Casey McGee.
And Dotel has been throwing the baseball well. 3 appearances for the Cardinals, has not allowed a base hit, let alone a run, and has gone scoreless in 17 of his last 18 appearances, including his time with the Blue Jays. At one time, this guy was about as nasty as it gets out on the mound. Doesn't throw as hard as he used to. You got to love the stirrups, though. Stirrups with the high tops.
And those classic Cardinal stirrups. Not really stirrups, but that's what they're imitating these days. Nigel Morgan still wears stirrups.
Yeah.
0-2 on McGee.
Kind of slings that ball from high 3/4. He used to throw about 80 or 98 miles an hour. Doesn't do that anymore, but you know, the fastball with the sweeping slider for Dotel.
Well, Dotel now 37 years of age. He was one of the premier closers back in 04. As a matter of fact, he saved 36 games. That was the year the Astros traded him to the Oakland Athletics. He was part of the Oakland A's postseason push. Spent some time with the Yankees, the White Sox. The Brewers saw him a lot with the Pirates last year.
Yeah, that 92 right there used to be 97. But he's still out there, and he'll be a nice addition to that Cardinals bullpen.
St. Louis, Octavio Dotel's 12th different team in 13 major league seasons. 1 ball, 2 strikes on McGee. Count remains at 1-2. Now, while the Cardinals could not land that hammer closer, Heath Bell stays put in San Diego. They bolstered the 2 spots that will get him there. Matter of fact, because Edwin Jackson comes over, they actually pick up 3 positions in the bullpen. Kyle McClellan has been taken out of the rotation. He's now in the bullpen for St. Louis. So you add a strength there. You get Dotel, and then Tepchinsky, who is a tough left-hander. He's had a lot of success over in the American League. McGee rips one to left, and it is caught by Holliday. Goodness. Shades of the postseason of 09 right there, as Holliday not exactly right to the baseball comfortably. Does make the catch for the out.
Well, it's never pretty out there in left field with Holliday, but he made the catch this time. I tell you, Casey McGee, if he has no luck, he's got bad luck, or it's the other way around. He smokes that baseball, and Matt Holliday able to turn around a couple of times and make the catch. If he didn't have bad luck, he'd have no luck at all.
I see.
That's what I meant to say.
Heard that a few times. And Casey McGee saying the same thing right now in the dugout. So 1 away, and it's Lucroy. As good as Matt Holliday was for the Cardinals in 09 offensively, it was his error, his misplay in the playoffs, Dodgers Phillies of 09, that cost the Cardinals. Dodgers would advance. Phillies would go on to win the pennant that year. And many thought Lance Berkman was going to be a liability in the outfield based on his skills somewhat diminishing, but Berkman's actually played a very good outfield this year and right for St. Louis.
He came into camp in great shape. He lost some weight, worked hard, and it's paying off. An MVP candidate right now is Lance Berkman. The Puma.
Also known as Fat Elvis, but you can't call him that anymore.
You just did.
No. That's what he used to be known as.
Oh, I got it.
Also.
Okay.
AKA.
So you were complimenting him.
Among his teammates. I'm saying I don't think it applies. Two and two to Lucroy. He had an RBI single off Carpenter in the 5th. Carpenter went 4 innings without giving up a run. Only 1 infield hit. That's it. And then in the 5th, it all unraveled for him. Carpenter gives up 5 earned runs on 7 hits and is on the hook for the loss. Dotel out of the bullpen to work the bottom of the 6th. And Lucroy a strikeout victim. So 2 up, 2 down for Octavio Dotel.
Yeah, September 26th is singles night at Miller Park, presented by OnMilwaukee.com. Buy a due-deck ticket that includes a buffet and two drinks per person, plus meet other single Brewers fans. Visit Brewers.com/singles for information.
Well, an encouraging hand for Craig Counsell as he is announced as the pinch hitter. Counsell pinch hitting for Zach Greinke. 6 innings for Greinke tonight, 2 earned runs. He continues to pitch well, and he has a chance at his 9th win. Satisfied Zach Greinke. Got a big double play to end the 6th. Brewers got a break. It was a missed call at first.
That settled down nicely after that first inning home run by Matt Holliday.
Counsell in the shallow right. Schumacher is back. He's got it for the out. And the hitless streak continues for Counsell. 0 for his last 45.
summary, the Brewers went into the bottom of the 5th inning, down 2 runs, and Jonathan Lucroy will start a 5-run inning with an RBI single. Corey Hart will follow with the same thing to tie things up at 2 apiece, but the big blow will come off the bat of Niger Morgan, a 3-run double that will put the Brewers up 5-2. And in the top of the 6th inning, bases loaded. Brewers look like they're in a jam, but Zach Greinke will get the big double play to end the inning, and it will keep the score 5-2, and that's where we stand here in the top of the 7th. BA.
All right, Telly, thanks. I think that's the biggest smile we've seen from Zach Greinke, knowing they got the benefit of a call at first base, as LaTroy Hawkins will take over for Greinke. And the Brewers will give Hawkins the ball, first out of the bullpen. 9 outs to get. 5-2 Milwaukee.
Another quality start for that Brewers rotation. It seems like you come to expect it, and it's going to be LaTroy Hawkins in the 7th inning. 35th appearance for Hawk, and a 2.01 earned run average. The rotation: Hawkins, Rodriguez, Axford. That's what Ron Renick's hoping for tonight.
As Molina shoots one to right on the first pitch, Molina has his 2nd hit. And they lead off base runner for the Cardinals. Molina 2 for 3. Took a great play from Betancourt to rob him of a hit back in the 4th inning.
Everything up the middle into the opposite field for Yadier Molina. He's a pretty good hitter. Hitting around 290. Almost impossible to strike him out.
Corey Patterson will come on to pinch hit. Another one of the Cardinal newcomers. Final numbers for Zach Greinke: 6 innings, gives up just 2 runs, a walk, and 5 strikeouts. And a chance at his 9th win. The Brewers bullpen can take it the rest of the way. Greinke would go to 9-4 for the season.
They have now 20 quality starts over the last 23 games for the Milwaukee Brewers. That is unbelievable, the way that starting rotation has been able to perform. And that's what it takes to be competitive down the stretch.
A man on for Corey Patterson. It's part of that trade as well with the Blue Jays. Patterson came up with the Chicago Cubs. He knows this Central Division well. That gets away from Lucroy, and Yadier Molina on his way to 2nd base. Not a good start to the 7th inning for Hawkins.
Not that many pitches in the dirt have gotten by Lucroy lately. That breaking ball spiked in the dirt and just not able to square his shoulders. Jonathan let it trickle away. Had taken away a potential double play ball.
So Molina at 2nd. And 2-0 is the count on Patterson. Patterson was a Brewer in 09 briefly. Came to the Brewers at the end of the year. Made just 11 appearances in Milwaukee. He spent some time with the Cardinals, the Brewers. He was with the Reds. And he came up with the Cubs. That one is hit hard to left. Braun is right there. Line drive out for Patterson. First out of the inning. Now this homestand continues tomorrow. The Brewers and the Cardinals game 2. Our Miller Lite What's on Tap. 6:30 is airtime tomorrow for Brewers Live. And it's Sean Markham against Jaime Garcia, a matchup of 10 game winners tomorrow. Final game of the series Wednesday afternoon. The Brewers take Thursday off, and then they start a 3-game series in Houston, and a road trip that will go to Houston and then St. Louis. It's our Miller Lite What's on Tap. One gone, runner at 2nd for Call, the batter. And a strike from Hawkins. A lot of the new pieces on display tonight for St. Louis in this game. Jane for Call and LaTroy Hawkins, Corey Patterson. For Call, Corey Patterson and Dotel, I beg your pardon. Cardinals have had their problems in the bullpen this year. It was surprising that they traded away Colby Rasmus. There was a lot of disconnect between Rasmus and Tony La Russa and Cardinals coaching staff, as it was reported.
Who do you think is going to win that battle?
Rasmus is a Blue Jay.
That is a losing effort by a young player.
I think the Cardinals are viewing it as dealing a position of strength. They've certainly had a ready starter in John Jay, who's been swinging the bat so well, playing good baseball. And they were willing to make that trade to get some big pieces, especially pieces in that bullpen. Jay due to hit next. Three balls and a strike on for Call. Edwin Jackson will start the day game Wednesday. He'll match up against Randy Wolf. Picked up a win his first time out with St. Louis. And Hawkins walks for Call, and now the Cardinals again will bring the tying run to the plate.
And now the big boys starting to make their way to the bat rack. You got Jay, then you got the big three for the Cardinals: Pujols, Holiday, and Berkman. Last thing you want to do is start walking batters to bring those guys to the plate.
So with Pujols on deck, John Jay will bat. 2 on, 1 out. Jay's sitting on an 11-game hit streak. This guy's pretty much been a 300 hitter throughout his career. Minor leagues, major leagues. He's back over 300 this year. Hawkins working himself into a tough spot in the 7th inning. For now, the bullpen is quiet. Jay bouncing ball, got a chance here. Lopez to second, the turn. No turn. Betancourt wisely eats it. And it's 1st and 3rd. 2 men are out, but Albert Pujols is coming up.
Yep, coming up, and the Brewers really no chance to turn a double play. Jay runs fairly well. He's not a speed burner, but that was a 2-hopper. Kind of a tricky hop to Lopez right there. Had to make sure he had it, and that slowed him down just enough to allow John Jay to beat it at first base. A good play by Lopez, handling that hop, making sure of one. Doesn't want to rush it and throw it down the line.
Lopez and Betancourt, the new Keystone combination, with Ricky Weeks on the disabled list. And here is Albert Pujols. Boy, what a spot. 1st and 3rd, Pujols representing the tying run, 5-2 game. Albert is 0 for 3 tonight. And a swing and a miss. Chased one. You can almost hear the gasping before every pitch.
You don't often see Albert Pujols wave at a pitch like that, a curveball in the first pitch.
A sellout crowd of over 41,000. Relatively quiet here. An anxious moment in the 7th. Skips away from Lucroy. Molina will hold his ground.
Nice job by Lucroy. That's a tough pitch to block right there. Fastball that Lucroy is able to square his shoulders on and keep in front of him. Watch the way the right shoulder comes around and able to keep it close to keep that man at third base. That's a heck of a job. Blocking a fastball, not easy.
Pujols has been a hot hitter. Yesterday was 2 for 4, had a double. Tying run at the plate. The 1-1 pitch, and Pujols gets sawed off. That's a fair ball, and that's an out. And Pujols is retired. Lucroy jumped on it quickly. On a half swing by Pujols, he didn't mean to do it. And the Brewers get out of the inning. Pujols strands a pair. Stretch time in Milwaukee. Nice work, Jonathan Lucroy. Still 5-2 Brew Crew.
Of the 7th, Davey and Craig back with here on Fox Sports Wisconsin. Someone just came up to us and said, boy, Brewers are living right tonight, huh? Maybe they've gotten some breaks, but Davey, that 5th inning, 6 consecutive hits. What did they do to finally get to Carpenter?
Well, I think the one thing they made some adjustments at the plate, the Brewers hitters did, by making Carpenter get the ball up in the strike zone, because number one, you know, he had been throwing his breaking balls and cutters down out of the strike zone, getting ground balls. Guys with a little more patience made him get the ball up, and they attacked the balls when they were.
Big 5-run 5th for Milwaukee. That's what they're riding on right now, trying to go for their season-high 7th straight victory. Brewers Live postgame will break it all down in just a few minutes, guys.
All right, thanks a lot, Craig. Davey. Mitchell Boggs on the mound for the St. Louis Cardinals. Dotel worked a scoreless 6th inning. 3 up, 3 down inning with a strikeout. Now Boggs, who has been battling a back problem, had a cortisone shot in his back. Back on the mound again for St. Louis. Corey Patterson stays in the game to play center. As Hart fouls it away. Corey Hart had a big hit in the 5th. That big 5th inning Davey and Craig were talking about. It's the only inning the Brewers have scored any runs, but they put a big crooked number out there with a 5-run 6-hit 5th inning. And Hart had an RBI single against Carpenter to tie the game in that frame. On the ground for call. 1 gone here in the 7th.
Boggs has been a very dependable reliever for Eternal LaRussa. He's actually, gotten some opportunities for saves. He's got 4 saves this year.
Ryan Franklin released, the guy that was supposed to be the closer. Salas has been the closer lately. That's why they were so interested in getting Heath Bell. Didn't get him. I think the Cardinals disappointed that they did not.
Cardinals have had a lot of trouble at the end of games, especially in the 9th inning. Francisco Rodriguez preparing for the 8th, and he'll have Holiday, Berkman, and David Freese to start it. Nigel Morgan had the big hit tonight. Drove in 3 runs with a double. Brewers had tied it in that 5th inning, and then Morgan slapped one into left center. And a ball that was in the air for a long time. John Jay was shading Morgan into right center and could not run it down, and 3 runs scored.
Yeah, ball just kept slicing away from Jay out in center, and one of many hanging curveballs for Chris Carpenter in that inning.
Good numbers against Mitchell Boggs. Short sample size for Morgan. Niger now at 27 runs batted in after the 3 RBI double in the 5th. And 1 for 3 tonight. And he slaps that one into left field, a base hit. So Morgan, 2 more hits tonight and a base runner for the Brewers with Ryan Braun coming up.
They've got that opposite field stroke going tonight. 2-strike approach, just trying to put the bat on the baseball and able to dump it over for Call's head. Also a base runner for Braun infielder coming up. Down and in. You never know where Niger is going to slice one. Ordinarily you're going to see a guy pull it. Kind of golfed it out there in the left field. Good quick hands for Niger.
We'll see if Morgan wants to run with Braun at the plate. And Boggs checks on him. Braun is 1 out of 3, reached on an infield hit, and he rips that one. Base hit right center. Morgan racing around second. That gets by Berkman. Morgan has a chance to score, and no throw. Niger Morgan will score easily. 6-2 Milwaukee, and a miscue in the outfield.
How about that rocket by Ryan Braun? Wow. I'll tell you, Skip Schumacher didn't come too far from getting that baseball all the way on the ground into the gap, and that's where the lack of foot speed on the corners in this outfield come back to haunt the Cardinals. Berkman not able to get there. He tried to smother it, but it got through him. Well, check it out. He tried his best. It got right through him, and at that point, Ed Cedar decided to send Niger. And that's a big run right there. Now a 4-run lead.
It's going to go as a double and an RBI for Braun as Fielder bats. That ball was smoked.
And Niger kind of surprised that he was going to be scoring. He had to kick it into overdrive and able to score easily.
That is a big run. So no error charge to Berkman. Braun gets the double and the RBI. And that one skips in on Prince.
A little surprised that Tony La Russa is pitching to Prince.
Oh boy, we are dangerously close to another Niger Morgan post-game interview. Which means Telly Hughes is already preparing for it. It's like a 3-inning preparation for something like that. You gotta really get yourself together mentally. There's Telly. Look at him. He's already going through all the scenarios that could happen today. Well, let's hope the Brewers will have a chance to put him in that spot as Fielder does walk.
It's always entertaining, but you never know when those interviews are going to end, because Niger all of a sudden will say, I got to go.
Even when Telly tried to end the last interview, Niger took the mic back and ended it on his own.
Right.
He'll let you know when he's done.
Yeah, he's in charge.
So Fielder walks. By the way, got a final in from Pittsburgh. The Cubs beat the Pirates 5-3. Zambrano picked up the win for the Cubs. So the Cubs beat the Cardinals last night. Take care of the Pirates tonight.
And did you see Derek Lee in the lineup? 2 home runs against his old club. One of Zambrano, one of Kerry Wood.
And Lee's first game as a Pittsburgh Pirate. Pirates acquired Ryan Ludwig and Derek Lee.
Ludwig 0 for 3.
And according to the Elias Sports Bureau, Derek Lee is the first Pirate with 2 home runs in his debut since Sean Dunston. In case you wanted to know, Sean Dunston was a Pirate in 1997.
Yeah, I was wondering about that.
I know you were. In a losing effort today. Lopez with 2 on, 1 away, a run is in. And a bouncing ball, Schumacher for call, and no throw. Well, you figure it's going to take some time. Wasn't the best feed from Schumacher. But a new middle infield for the Cardinals. Ryan Theriot has been playing a little second base lately. For call figures to be the everyday starter at short the rest of the way.
Yeah, looked a little sloppy out there. Certainly a ball you would think that the Cardinals would be able to turn 2. They've done a nice job turning double plays, though. They're second in the league with 106 double plays coming into tonight's game. But that one was dead on arrival.
Tough one to handle for call. So it extends the inning. Fielder doing his best to break up the double play. Betancourt on the ground, and Schumacher makes a play for the out. So the inning is over, but the Brewers get a run. An RBI double from Braun. 6-2 Milwaukee.
.30 p.m. We are looking for a steamy game. First pitch 89 degrees. Problem is we do have some heavy thunderstorms nearby with winds out of the southwest at 10 to 16 miles per hour.
Thank you, Valerie. And tomorrow, game 2 of the series with the Cardinals. Tomorrow night right here on Fox Sports Wisconsin. Jerry Hairston Jr. makes his Brewers debut in the field. We saw him as a pinch hitter yesterday. He'll take over for Felipe Lopez. As Ron Renicky upgrades the defense with a 6-2 lead, we go to the 8th. LaTroy Hawkins stays in. Francisco Rodriguez still loosening in the bullpen. As Hawkins will face Holiday, Berkman, and Freese. That run the Brewers scored in the 7th inning changes the plan for Hawkins for the Brewers skipper here in the 8th.
You got to figure they're going to give Hawk one base runner.
Fielder right there, and he'll take it himself. Holiday retired for the first time tonight. That leads us to our Ho Chunk Gaming text question. Ron wants to know, who was the biggest prize winner during this year's trade deadline? Who do you think, Rock?
I think Texas Rangers helped themselves quite a bit. That Mike Adams pickup, I mean, that's a virtually unhittable back end of the bullpen for the Rangers.
Got Koji Uehara as well. So basically the Rangers got the most effective setup man in the American League and the most effective setup man in the National League.
Right.
Both now pitching in front of Neftali Feliz. Well, the Phillies did a good job getting Hunter Pence. That was a big need for Philadelphia. And of course, they're thinking about the World Series roster there. They've tightened up really one of their only holes in the right-handed bat in the outfield. I think the Brewers did a great job.
Yeah. K-Rod, you get Lopez, you get Jerry Hairston Jr. You have Hairston that can essentially fill two voids for you. Ricky Weeks on the disabled list. He can play second. He can play him in the outfield and center. And perhaps platooning with Nyjer Morgan. He can fill in for Gomez. You got a switch hitter in Lopez, and you've got a great, which is now a setup man for John Axford and K-Rod.
We are likely to see Jerry Hairston Jr. in center field tomorrow against the left-handed starter Garcia. That could change, but that has been discussed with Ron Renicky. Two balls and a strike on Lance Berkman. These two are teammates, Hawkins and Berkman, with the Astros a couple of years ago.
Yeah, Hawkins had perhaps his finest season out of the bullpen for the Astros that year.
And that earned him a 2-year deal with the Brewers. That was back in '09. Maybe Hawkins would prefer to be on his team again. Pretty big numbers against. 3 balls and a strike on Berkman. And a check swing. It looked like a strike, not called by Alan Porter.
And that might signal the end of the night for LaTroy Hawkins. There's your base runner.
Well, speaking of those moves in the National League Central, the Pirates acquiring Derek Lee and Ryan Ludwig. A couple of bats. Cardinals were busy. They get the starting pitcher in Edwin Jackson, Dotel, Zepchinski, Corey Patterson, and of course for Call. And then K-Rod with Lopez and Hairston Jr. for the Milwaukee Brewers. Everybody making moves with the exception of the Cincinnati Reds. They are standing pat.
Yeah, the Pirates needed offense. Their pitching has been very good. They're 5th in the National League in earned run average. Starting pitching particularly good. They just haven't been able to score runs. So Derek Lee certainly providing offense here tonight.
Hawkins facing Holiday with a runner at first. I beg your pardon, David Freese with a runner at first. Holiday made the first out. And Freese fouls it away. So what do you think about the Reds at this point, Rock? They are 6.5 back, 2 under. They did not make a trade. They have a great farm system. But Walt Jocketty's standing pat with what he has.
Yeah, kind of a surprise. I mean, I think the Reds are looking for pitching, but who is not? Particularly starting pitching. Their bullpen's pretty good. Perhaps the most underperforming team in the National League, Cincinnati. And perhaps the most overachieving club in the National League, the Pittsburgh Pirates. Both in the same division.
Swing and a miss. Freese strikes out as Hawkins punches him out with a breaking ball. Second out of the inning.
Had 3 pitches. Looked like the cutter, and Freese just waved at it. Pitch out of the strike zone. Looked up. A little close. I think Walt Jocketty just waiting for the guys that he has on his team to perform like he expects them to. I don't think they need to make any moves. They just need guys to get going. That's all.
Yeah, they basically have the same club that won the division last year. Well, you can't help but think about the Reds division title without thinking about the Cardinals and the Reds last year in early September. St. Louis went into Cincinnati and swept the Reds. They went into first place, and then all of a sudden the Reds got hot. The Cardinals lost 8 of their next 10 on their next road trip, and the Reds were division winners, and they won it by 5 games over the Cardinals last year. That's how fast it can change.
Yeah.
So even though these games are so important in August, and now that we've dialed into this pennant race, a lot can happen.
And the thing about the Reds is they have to catch 3 teams. A little bit different than just being in second place.
Hawkins a strike away from getting through the 8th. The 0-2 in the air to center field. Niger Morgan eases over. And what a job by LaTroy Hawkins tonight. 2 scoreless innings for LaTroy. The Brewers lead the Cardinals as we go to the bottom of the 8th, and the Plush Nation making themselves heard. Well, the Powerball home run count at this point, 118 for the season for Milwaukee. Arizona Diamondbacks are the National League leaders in home runs, but the Brewers have hit their fair share. But no home runs tonight for the Brewers. As a matter of fact, been a pretty quiet night for Braun and Fielder. Braun does have an RBI double, just posted one in the 7th inning, but it has been the supporting cast tonight, and most of that damage done in the 5th inning. Brewers scored 5 runs on 6 hits, and Niger Morgan had the big hit, a 3 RBI double. Mitchell Boggs still out there as Casey McGee rips one foul. Casey McGee tonight at the plate, presented by Wendy's. 1 for 3 with a single and a run scored.
Yeah, the Brewers offense much more balanced this year than last as far as winning games when they don't hit a homer. Yesterday the Brewers did not homer and won for the 18th time this year when they have not homered. How many times the Brewers won last year without a homer? 17. So they're doing a better job of winning games with small ball. That's another one of those Mike Vasallo late night stats that he was able to dig up. He had a good day today with the notes.
Yeah.
Some good stuff.
A lot of cut and paste.
Is that how they do that?
McGee takes one away. Yeah, you'd be surprised what Mike Vasallo can do with
pair of scissors,
a blank piece of paper and a pair of scissors.
Yeah.
Two balls and a strike on McGee, and that one is on the corner. Strike 2. Cubs have beaten the Pirates 5-3. The Cincinnati Reds are tied with the Astros right now. That game is all tied at 3 in the 9th inning. Astros had an early lead in that one, 3-0, but the Reds have fought back in Houston. Rockies over the Phillies 3-1 as they play in the 8th. How about the Phillies? 68 wins, 39 losses.
Yeah.
29 over 500. Juggernaut. Hey, McGee takes a call at strike 3. Porter rings him up, and the first out of the 8th inning.
Yeah, the Phillies the only team in the National League with a better home record. The Phillies 41-18 before play today. The Brewers, if they should hold on to this one, would be 40-14. So actually the Brewers with a better winning percentage, but not as many wins.
Yeah, the Brewers looking for their 8th consecutive win at home, and 7 in a row on this current homestand. Brewers swept the Cubs to start the 9-game homestand, swept the Astros. They're trying to seal up another victory here tonight. Looks like Renicky has Cameron Lowe loosening in the bullpen. So it looks like Lowe will have the 9th inning.
Cardinals have 8 the pitcher spot, actually 8, 9 and 1. Corey Patterson in the pitcher spot on the double switch.
Ryan Braun with a double and an RBI tonight. 2 hits. It's amazing the way the game changed on a dime. Carpenter impressive through the first 4 innings and then just hit a wall in the 5th.
I just wonder if it was the heat. Zach Greinke had a tough time in the 6th inning.
Well, the Cardinals did not support Carpenter defensively. There was a misplay on a Greinke bunt turned into a hit. Who knows where the inning goes if the Cardinals make that play. And as Lucroy strikes out, 2 gone in the inning. So Boggs, who gave up a run in the 7th, has retired the first 2 via strikeouts here in the 8th, and he'll face Mark Kotsay now. ZZ Top in the building. That's where Brian Wilson's beard is headed. And maybe Prince Fielder. Nothing like a big full beard on a hot night.
Yeah. It does not look very comfortable.
Prince has a ways to go. That is a menacing beard for Fielder. Menacing, I think. Kotsay off the glove of Boggs and a base hit. 2-out single for Mark Kotsay.
Going right back through the middle. And Boggs with that sinking fastball got one up in the strike zone, and Boggs almost had it, but into center field for Kotsay. A pinch hit, base hit. Just barely missed it. It might have hit the glove, just grazed the fingers.
So Kotsay is aboard, and back to the top of the order now, and Corey Hart. 6-2 Brewers. A 5-run 5th, added 1 in the 7th. The 2 Cardinal runs came against Greinke in the 1st inning. A 2-run home run by Matt Holliday. Brewer pitching has shut down the Redbirds ever since. One of the best hitting teams in all of baseball. Another sellout tonight, Rock. 18th sellout this year. 41,619.
Great fans here in Milwaukee. on a Monday night.
A much anticipated showdown with the top two teams in the division, the Cardinals and the Brewers. Hope you'll make plans to join us tomorrow. We got a great pitching matchup tomorrow. A battle of 10-game winners. Sean Markham against Jaime Garcia. And we'll see if the Brewers starting pitching can continue this run. Corey Hart into left, a base hit. And 2 more hits for Corey Hart tonight. Well, he is on fire at the plate.
Every time they make a mistake on him, he's hitting it hard somewhere. Base hit to center in the 5th, and now a line drive bullet to left on a pitch out away from him. Able to center on it, get the big part of the bat on it. Well, now the Brewers have something going again.
Corey Hart now has 10 hits in his last 15 at-bats. And it gives Nigel Morgan a chance. With 2 on, 2 out, Morgan can turn a good night into a great night with a base hit here. A 3 RBI double in the 5th. That's been the big blow of the ball game so far. Morgan had a single and a run scored in the 7th. He scored from first on Braun's double. And it's back up the middle for Call. Gobbles it up, flips to Schumacher, and the inning is over. Nice play by the new Cardinal shortstop. To the 9th we go. Last call for the Cardinals. Here comes Cameron Lowe. It's been a good night for the Brewers and a good night for Nigel Morgan. Rocked a big hit, the 3 RBI double in the 5th. Capped off a 5-run inning for Milwaukee against Carpenter.
Yeah, it was one of those innings where Carpenter just couldn't get ahead in the count, and when he did throw strikes that were up in his zone, Nigel got a hanging curveball and sliced it out to the gap in left center. John Jay just couldn't catch up to it. Another base hit to get things going for the Brewers later in the game.
And at this point, Nigel Morgan is our Menards player of the game, 2 for 5. Scored the 6th run, the run that allows Cameron Lowe to enter this game. A 4-run Brewers lead. 9th inning, Daniel Descalso will pinch hit for the Cardinals. So Descalso hitting for Molina. Brewers trying to run their winning streak to 7 games. Got to go back to the 2009 season to find the last 7-game winning streak. It was in May of '09. A win tonight. The Brewers go to 12 games over 500. And the last time the Brewers were 12 over 500 the 08 season, the playoff year. Brewers finished at 90 and 72 that year.
And the Brewers would go to 27 and 17 against the Central.
And 3 outs to get and 4 runs to work with. And there is a way to the finish line of this game without having to see Pujols again. That's exactly where Ron Renicky wants K-Rod and Axford for the time being. He can get through another day without having to pitch Francisco Rodriguez and John Axford.
And every day is going to pay dividends as you get into August and into September. Much time as they can have off. Important. They've been pitching a lot.
2-2 to Descalso. Just looking ahead, the Brewers week here. The Brewers have Thursday off, so can empty out that bullpen tomorrow and Wednesday. Got a series in Houston over the weekend, another off day on Monday, a week from today. And then 3 games for the Cardinals in St. Louis. So Cameron Lowe trying to do his part. Grounder out to second. Hairston makes the play, out number 1. Now coming up after our game tonight, Brewers Live postgame, which will include our postgame instructional. And look out, Jerry, good fastball. What's our topic going to be tonight, Rock?
Now we're going to talk about what Eddie's doing, and see the base runners, making their turns at third base. Some of the decisions that go into sending a runner or holding a runner up. Davey Nelson, a big league coach. I'm sure that he will be doing most of the talking in that instruction. I've never coached third base, and very rarely have I ever rounded third and scored. So. I'm going to have my troubles with that one.
Another ground ball. Patterson makes the play for the. Was retired by Betancourt, and 2 men are out. I'm looking at that thing, and Jerry and Davey had a glove, and you had a bat. Right. You almost knocked Davey's teeth out. So hopefully you don't do that tonight.
It's an illusion.
Cardinals down to their last out, and they come to their feet at Miller Park. A sellout crowd tonight.
World champion this year. World champion.
Brewers fans feeling good about their club. For Call at the plate. I've never seen that before. The cheese mug. The cheese koozie. LaTroy Hawkins, got to give him a lot of credit tonight. He goes 2 scoreless for the Brewers. Retired Albert Pujols in the 7th inning, representing the tying run. One of the big moments of this game. Brewers got a huge double play in the 6th. Looked like a missed call at first. Brewers got a great break, but a 4-6-3 double play against Schumacher. Cardinals had the bases loaded that inning with 1 out, did not score. That was Greinke's last inning. And with 1 more out, Rock, it is a game where the Brewers can look back and say they did a lot of good without major contributions from Braun and Fielder. Although Braun did have an RBI double in the 7th to make it 6-2.
Well, throughout the season, you're going to have games where you have to rely on the other guys other than the dynamic duo. And 1 more strike, that will be the case. Not only that, you win a game and not having to use Cordero, or I should say Francisco Rodriguez and John Axford. That's just as important.
Full count. Cardinals down to their last strike. 2 outs. And a little chopper. Lowe will take it himself to Fielder for the out. And the ball game is over. The Milwaukee Brewers make it 7 straight. They go to 12 games over 500. A 6-2 win over division rivals St. Louis tonight. Zach Greinke now 9-4. He beats Chris Carpenter for the second time this year. And the Brewers a winner, undefeated on the homestand. Still more to come on this game. Craig Kashan, what do you have coming up on Brewers Live?
Well, we're getting ready for that guy, Tony Plush. I'm sure he is more than willing to grab the mic and get in front of the camera tonight. We'll stand by for that. Also hear from Ron Renneke and talk about lucky number 7 tonight for Milwaukee when we come back to Brewers Live.